Hello, hello. I am Jazmin Kylene, and welcome to another episode of From Soul to Song. Today, we are joined by a rising R&B singer and songwriter from Miami, 305, who became the first ever singer signed to the legendary Slip Inside Records, and recently released her debut album, which was over a decade in the making. Welcome, welcome, Teenear. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. Today's been a day. I'm so happy to be here with you.
I know. I'm so happy too. And I think it's incredible because you're obviously having such a delicious moment. You're in full bloom, and this album is out and has been, like I said, in the works for a minute. I'd love to know, what did you learn from sort of like the journey of letting something take its time the way you did with this project?
I feel like the biggest thing is I learned myself. I got to know who
Mm.
I am. I really discovered more just about the person that I want to be, the person that I want to give the world. And that's the biggest thing. And that's the most important thing to me. And the project is called Never Met a Me. So it's like, it's my introduction.
Yes, and I feel like even beyond just like the title track and beyond all else, I think that the standout energy and the standout theme of this album is someone who's just like unconditionally rooted in their worth. Like I feel like you just know who you are and you sound very loudly in that confidence. And I think it's so important for us to see, because I feel like a lot of the R&B girlies, and you are like, processing bigger emotions and you're hurt on the album too, but like I think we needed someone who's just the embodiment of like, this is what it's like when you walk knowing that like you're the shit and no one can really say
Yes.
anything about it. I'd love to know like what do you do on the day to day to like cultivate that feeling? Is that a persona or do you really tend to that?
I feel like it's something I really tend to. It's something that I pray about as well, to step into who I'm supposed to be and make sure that I'm also embodying a place of like light and love. I feel like that's so important to me and important to just the woman I want to be. So every day I'm constantly thinking about how can I just make sure that I step into every room, every conversation, and just spread that positivity and light and just love energy.
Yes, I know. And you mentioned prayer, and I had written down to ask you a question about just what role your faith plays in all of this, because you seem to be someone who's so forward in their belief.
Yeah, my faith is it plays every role in this, honestly,
Yeah.
because
Mm.
like you said, this project has been in the works for a while, and I feel like for me, just staying faithful and believing in the fact that God gave me this gift for a reason, and He gave me these thoughts and ideas and this creativity for a reason. It wasn't meant for me to stop. It wasn't meant for me to quit. I stayed grounded in the faith that like this is what I'm supposed to do. There's a reason I'm supposed to be doing this. Somebody is gonna hear a specific song, gravitate to it in a way that can help them, and like my purpose will be fulfilled. And like those are my thoughts, purpose driven, faith driven, constantly.
And I feel like that's why you're reaping so much reward and how much you've poured into this, because you're driven by the right reasons. And I think that that's why you're really building such solid roots and have even had moments where I feel like Rick Ross is like Miami's like Princess Diana. And so I get to like, to collaborate with him is so real. Please tell me how that felt for you, like as a native Miamian and also just like as an artist.
Man, like even to this day, I'm just so grateful to have him on that song. I feel like he fits perfectly. And when I first heard him on the record, I was like, yeah, he did his big one. And it genuinely felt like it came from a place of love. So I'm so grateful. Just all in all, like every day, every time I look at my video or hear the song, I'm just like, thank you. Thank you so much.
I know, I love it. I was so excited because I was like, I'm a Rick Ross girly, and I feel like it's just like it's so perfect, and I feel like it's such an ode to like what Slip Inside is, which is just like
Yeah.
it really honors how like what is so special about Miami and what is so special
Mhm.
about like our corner of the country and what we contribute. And so with that, I'd love to know, because I feel like every like New York girly and every like West Coast girly really stands in like what they're bringing. Like, how do you think that like growing up like in Dade County, like how does that sort of inform how you move in your R&B sound?
I feel like growing up in honestly like Miami is where my
Yeah,
whole life. It really just there's so many things going on around us all the time. So much creativity. It's so
man.
colorful, and I feel like it just really makes me kind of feel more confident in the fact that I could be whatever I want to be, say whatever I want to say, and just really
Yeah.
stand in my truth. And I feel like that's the biggest thing that I take away from Miami, because people really are who they are and they do not care. And I love that.
Oh. Yes, that is so yeah, and I love that about South Florida because I feel like it really we're so embedded in like this we will not dilute or shrink ourselves for anyone else. And I
Right.
feel like
We
that's
are.
really in your music. Yeah. And it's just like it's the baddie capital, honey.
Yes.
110, are you kidding? But I love it. And I feel like that's so you're this whole entire debut project is really drenched in yeah, in that unconditional knowingness of the space you want to take up. Now that it's been out for a little minute, how are you feeling? Were you nervous to sort of like finalize it and give it to the world? Or are you just happy it's out?
I was counting the days, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like, oh my God, everyone's gonna hear all of these songs that I've spent so much time on. Like, what if they don't like it? What if I didn't know what was going through my head? Like,
Right.
even to this day, like, I'm just taking it in every day because I'm like, I'm getting positive feedback all the time. Different people saying random messages to me, and I'm just like, wow, like, it's out. My baby's out. People are receiving it, and every day I'm just like, thank you, God. Thank you. I'm
Yes.
finally here in this
Yeah.
moment.
And even like you have a little TikTok sound going. How's it been to kind of see how people have like been working with the sound in their own like little creative content videos?
It's been hilarious.
Yeah, I
And
know.
because you just having people like take on their own perspective of something that you put out is just like, wow. People are very creative.
They're creative, honey. I know. And honestly, right in this moment right now, especially in music and in R&B, like there's there's no bigger honor than getting like any song to go off on TikTok. So just know that you have made it on every end, honestly. And I think it's cool because not only are you really you're not only modernizing the genre, but I think you're also very much paying ode to the like the golden age of R&B. Like there's something that's very 2000s, like very like just I think you really do nod to a certain era of R&B that a lot of people are kind of missing. When it comes to like R&B listeners, like I think a lot of people even say that the genre is dead because it isn't the way that it is in the early 2000s. So, as someone who's playing such a vital role in revitalizing it, what is your perspective on the state of R&B and how it's changed and shifted?
um, I feel like the biggest thing is that we've just been missing love.
Yeah.
Like, R&B is love. Like, why are we saying we don't want to go see him? Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Be honest about it, y'all.
That is the truth, and I feel like that's where 90s R&B was. Like, it was love and it wasn't raunchy. It was, I'm telling you, in the most creative way. You got to think about it a little bit, and I love that about R&B. And
Yeah.
that was my goal at the end of the day. Like, I wanted to bring back love, and also, we could say a lot of things without being crazy with it, and that was my goal.
Yes. Oh my God, that is so thank you for saying that because anytime I ask that question, it usually in some way, shape, or form comes up of like people aren't yearning anymore. And I feel like it's you kind of pointed to like I feel like we're too cool to want we're too cool to yeah, and it's like, no, let's go back to being honest. We're a little crazy about that man. Yeah.
We're all crazy, and like,
Yeah.
you can put up the front if you want to. You
Yeah.
can, but you know the truth. You
Mm.
know the
And
truth.
speaking of love, and one of the questions that I love asking that I really wanted to ask you was what do you think is like the best love song of all time? Like if you had to pick one that's inspired you.
That is a hard
I know
question.
it always stumps the girls. It always
Um, because you loved me by Celine Dion.
oh, okay. Come on, Miss
I love,
Dion.
I love that song. Like,
Yeah.
and I also think that I love it so much because it's my parents' like wedding song. So I've known it since I was
Mm.
young. Like, I was like, I love this song. And for me, that song as well, I feel like you can also look at it from a spiritual standpoint. And it's like everything that she says in that song, it's like you could feel it from God too. Because God is ultimately love at the end of the day. And
Exactly. No, that's
yeah,
beautiful.
I love that song.
Oh, that's so I feel like no one's ever mentioned like, yeah, their parents' wedding song. I think it's beautiful because I think you have a family that's so loudly supportive of you and behind you and also being part of Slip Inside and sort of like being like the first ever singer. I think you just really have this like fortified surface of support beneath you. How has it been to sort of like go through this process, not alone, but like surrounded by the people that you love? Do they have too much opinion, or do you seek out their perspective? How do you navigate that?
Um, there's a lot of opinions, and
Right.
I love the support 1,000%. But like I
Mhm.
said, coming into it, there were a lot of people that I had to listen to because I didn't know what I was
Mm,
doing yet. And
mhm,
throughout the years, I've discovered what I want to give to the world now, and that's the most
mm.
important to me. I loved all of their advice throughout the years, loved the support, but I did have to figure out what I wanted, and now I'm here, and they support that.
Period. And I feel like that's part of what we were saying about like how do you tend to just being the loudest expression of your true self, and that really is finding your voice. And I think that you have really found your voice, and it's something that you're communicating energetically. And like as a girl that's witnessing you, it really reminds me to make sure that I'm standing in mine. And I think beyond that, it's definitely, I think it would make little you proud. Do you ever think about like what like little girl you would think of your life right now and where you stand?
Honestly haven't until you just said that. I was like,
Do
wow, yeah, little me would be
you?
so proud right now.
Yes. Honestly, come back because I think sometimes we can get so overwhelmed in like the movement and everything that we don't remember. Like, oh my god, if like 7-year-old me saw me, she would be gagged. You know.
You would.
So go off.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
a
yeah,
good way to look at things, because yeah, a
absolutely.
7-year-old me probably didn't know what she would be doing at this age.
Tea. And now I'm a superstar. What is next for you? Obviously, you're still rolling out things, but do you have any sort of like visuals in the works, or what are you planning and plotting on?
Yes, there's a lot of visuals coming out soon. I
Okay.
feel like the majority of this project really is gonna take over in when the colder months come around, when people,
Yes.
when we start yearning. And I'm excited. I'm excited for that, and I'm excited for people to step into that and
Mm.
give that to the world, give those visuals, and make people feel again.
Yes, yes. I love to know when you're feeling, especially because like when I was watching the last video and like just even like your scenes with Ross, like I was like, how do you like? Do you feel like you kind of like are you just yourself in front of the camera, or do you like have to kind of like step into a character because you're just so like boldly you? And I'm like, I would be so shy.
I feel like the thought of doing it before, I'm like, I kind of have a freak out moment, but when it's on,
Mm,
it's on. I
it's
really don't
on.
even know how to explain it. It's just
Yes,
like,
you're Sasha Fierce.
it's on. Oh, my Sasha
Mm.
Fierce, I call her Rebel Renee.
Wait, I love that. I love that. Come on, Rebel Renee. Yes, very much so. I love that. And I'm sure Rebel Renee is gonna come out because you have some like in-person performances coming up soon as well, right?
I do. I have
Mm.
a festival coming up actually next month, and
Okay.
throughout the next few months, I'm gonna do a few like listening performance parties. So yeah, I'm
I
excited.
love it, honestly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, the best part about music and experiencing it as listeners when it does get to come into life and you get to actually like experience it live. And I feel like you stepping into your Rebel Renee persona is exactly what like that's the last puzzle piece of this whole rollout. But you are such a light, and I think that the purpose that you are so rooted and clear about is definitely being carried out in the way that you have stood in yourself and stood in your artistry, but also stayed true to your voice and your truth. And it's been an honor to witness you, so thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, of
It's been
course.
amazing. Thank you for having me as
Yeah,
well.
of course. Any
Happy
last
to
things that you
talk
want
to
to
you.
say or share with our audience or your audience? Anything?
Um, my biggest thing would just be, figure out what you stand on, figure out what you believe in, and completely stand in your truth. Because when you don't, I feel like it's gonna resonate with everyone. If you don't even believe in it, nobody else is gonna believe in it.
Oof. That's tea. That don't lie to yourself, y'all. That's amazing. Yes, 100%. I think you are giving permission for a lot of people to step into knowing that, like, yeah, they never have met a me. You know what I mean? Like they
You
really
ain't never met
haven't.
me.